afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, December 7th, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, not bogged down by injuries, but getting ready for that Saturday night's main event. Jeremy Pierce, welcome one and all. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. Today's show, we got part one of the top stories of 2024, what went down. Part two will be in a list video come probably on Sunday or Monday, but this is gonna be good. We got a bunch of stuff that went down this year, but for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. All right. It's been a minute since I've done one of these, but the episode list for today, these are the top categories to look forward to for the cutters of this year. The cutters are my annual end of the year award show, which will be going down the first episode of 2025. But these are the categories I'm looking forward to the most. Breakout star of the year. Who really came through? Who really pushed through, broke through that glass ceiling, and really made a name for themselves? Who is it that says, yeah, my 2025 is going to be excellent? Number 4, feud of the year. What feuds carried you? What feuds made you feel? What feuds made you feel hurt and pain and love and laugh? Like, what kept your attention? Number 3, pay-per-view of the year. Now, for many, this is not something to look forward to, but for me, it is, because we get a plethora of events between AEW, TNA, NXT, WWE, New Japan, AAA, CMLL, so many others. What was the best show of the year? Top to bottom, just how good was it? Number 2, Booker of the Year. This is one of my favorite awards, and it's who has booked their show, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, TNA, whatever, the best. Who has been consistent, even though they've had some lows, the highs really outnumber them. In number 1, female superstar of the year. Who is it? Because this was the year where the woman really showed up and showed out between Liv Morgan and the many women in NXT over in TNA, and this has been a great year for the women. Who is it? We'll find out. We'll be right back. The spotlight is bright, is back, and it's shining on one Kevin Owens. This is it. This is the moment. Everything has been leading up to this. Kevin Owens has found a new level. He has always brought it, but something is different. Right here, right now is the time for the WWE to pull the trigger on KO once again. He has not been this hot in quite a long time. This feud with Cody Rhodes has been something special to see. He has now been elevated. He has an opportunity to really be back at the top. We know the skill is there. We know the ring work is there. We know the mic work is there. But Kevin Owens has kind of always, I don't want to say flew under the radar, but he's, I feel like, never gotten that just due. You know what I mean? And when it comes to Saturday night's main event next week, the WWE have a chance, an opportunity to take that shot on Kevin Owens. It's a big one, and it's got to work, because I've seen it happen time again, especially these last couple of years, where someone's been hot and they failed them, and you have to go back to the drawing board instead of just pulling the trigger and making the right move, the smart move. Next weekend, Saturday night's main event, is the time for Kevin Owens to show up and show out and walk away as your new WWE champion. We'll be right back. All right, 2024 is in the books. Well, not yet. We still have 2 weeks left before the year is over. So unless there is a major story breaking in the next 2 weeks, these are our top stories of 2024, part 1. There was a lot. Like every time I do this list, right, I think that, something happened, but there wasn't a lot. And I was wrong. I would be wrong. So we got about, 12, 13, 14 stories here for you today before we move on to part 2, which will come in a couple of days. But we start off with Scott D'Amore being fired. This one was shocking. On February 7th, Anthem announced that they were parting ways with Scott D'Amore. This was right after about 2 months after it was announced that Impact Wrestling was moving back to the TNA rebranding. And if you've paid attention to everything that's going down with TNA/Impact Wrestling these last couple of years, it has all been due to Scott D'Amore, been due to Scott D'Amore's grace, him really stepping up and ultimately, saying that I got this, I have this. And it sucked. We felt like there had to be more to the story, and there wasn't. Essentially, Anthem thanks Scott D'Amore for pretty much riding the ship of Impact and fixing everything that Dixie and Hogan and Bischoff screwed up, fixing the company. But thank you for your services. We are in charge. Now you are no longer needed, and that sucks because everybody loved Scott D'Amore. He was welcome and wanted and appreciated, and his love and passion for TNA knew no bounds. So essentially, after that happened, he announced the launch in August of this year, announced the launch of Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling. The relaunch of Maple Leaf Wrestling as Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling in his inaugural 2-night event Forged in Excellence went down on October 19th and 20th, and it was a fantastic show. I kind of wanted Tony Khan to sign him, but I digressed. How about, this is a big one, it went down this past week. The New Day turns on Big E. The New Day turning on Big E. That one hurts so much. And the crazy thing is, they had a point. They were right. Essentially, Big E turned his back on his boys and only showed it when they were just about to split. He saw them fighting for weeks and weeks and weeks, but you were there doing the pre-show countdown. You were there with your new girlfriend, but your boys, your family. Don't use your neck as an excuse. And what hurts even more is that part of the storyline was supposed to involve Odyssey Jones. This man sat backstage for 2 years waiting to be called up. And what did this man do? He fumbled the bag. He caught up in some kind of allegations, and enough was enough, and he was let go. He was supposed to be a major part of this storyline, but now we are where the New Day wanted to be when they first got started as heels, so we'll see where this goes. Then we have the CEO, yes, Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks, signed with AEW and made her official debut at Big Business, which is one of those special shows like Fight for the Fallen, Fighter Fest. And it was big. This was one of, if not the biggest signing that AEW has had, over a few other names. But you essentially have one of the greatest female wrestlers of the past quarter century in your company. You have one of the women that was the catalyst for change in women's professional wrestling, one of the best. And yeah, she was coming back from her injury, but she was back, and she was in a company that desperately needed some more star power in that division. And she's been a pretty good bright spot, with the exception of that one major hiccup at All In against Britt Baker. And I understand why they went with that. I mean, new top star with the former star, and it just didn't work. But Mercedes Moné was such a big get, is such a big get for them, that you can't help but say, yeah, we're really here with the big boys. And sticking with AEW in their newest signing, Kazuchika Okada officially signed with AEW, leaving his longtime home of New Japan Pro Wrestling. The Rainmaker was here, and we thought he was going to be a face, but no. He ended up joining the Elite. This was good. You had one of the most well-known guys in AEW officially joining, officially coming aboard and being like, hey, I'm here. I am in a brand new home, and it's worked. He immediately won the Continental Championship from Eddie Kingston, and has found this new lease on just being funny but being an asshole, and it just worked. Okada has been such a good bright spot, and yes, I understand that a lot of people wanted to see him in WWE, but it really wasn't going to happen. Probably the darkest of all dark timelines is Vince McMahon resigning from the TKO board, and it was coming. Like it was bound to happen with the sexual assault allegations coming to light. Vince McMahon had no choice but to step away. Sorry, not step away. He's just gone. He is just not here anymore. He's an afterthought in the WWE. We don't talk about him anymore. And his time, I can't dive into the full thing because that's an episode unto itself, but essentially the company has prospered since he has been going. How about, and this is a big one, Triple H doesn't buy black. And what I mean with that is, for the longest time, pretty much this year, right, on the main roster shows of WWE, on the pay-per-views, they have not featured black superstars. They just haven't. And it started to become really noticeable. So much to the point that Triple H was asked about it at the, I want to say, Bad Blood media scrum. And he gave the one answer that you never give. And he said, I don't see color. And that's crap. And every time we think of Triple H and black wrestlers, we always go back to him and Booker T. And it's becoming more and more noticeable. And to like counteract that report, randomly, Jade Bianca and Naomi were just hosting Bad Blood, which took place in Atlanta. Don't get me started on the theme song. So clearly it was getting to you. Clearly there was something afoot. There was something amiss. There was something that in the back of your mind was like, oh, wow, we're really screwing up here. And that, I'm going to boil down part of that to one, even though the shows have been better, the writing is still kind of just there. The creative is kind of just there. And you're letting them get away with pay-per-views that have 4 and 5 matches on them. That's not right. And you can say, well, what black stars do they have is about making stars. Yes, you need to make stars of all races, colors, and creeds, but it's very noticeable when you don't have anybody black at the top. What was the point of calling Melo up if you weren't going to push him? Because clearly they had a plan for Bron Breakker, but don't have a plan for Carmelo Hayes. How about Bushiroad Fire and Rossi Agawa? Why was this going on? Why was he fired? Well, apparently he was poaching talent. And these were just accusations, but they were so big and they were so loud that he had to be fired. He was fired. He was let go. They terminated the contract of him. He was the founder of Stardom, which is one of the top, if not the top, women's promotion on the planet, and he had to be let go. And the crazy thing is, there are so many women that were loyal to him, but some of other women who aren't loyal to him, like Asuka, who was a part of Stardom, and Io, and Kyrie. So if some of these top women did support him, see what I mean? And when he was let go later that year, not even that far out, he announced his new promotion, Dreamstar Fighting Marigold, which has been putting on solid shows and it has a lot of good talent. And it's now one of the top Joshi promotions because a lot of the women are beholden to Rossi, which really, really hurts. How about Doom Reed? Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry has gone viral. This man who bet on himself, who had a great feud with Simon Miller of What Culture. This man is in the stratosphere of professional wrestling, and TNA will be pulling the trigger on him. The music, the parodies, everything he does just hits and it just works. And that crossover with NXT has helped raise his star even more. Joe Hendry is the future of this business, and you always have to bet on yourself. You just do, and he's done it, and it's working, and he is locking it in 10 toes down. Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. How about our forever champion, Athena? On September 15th, 2024, Athena became not only the longest reigning women's champion in the history of Ring of Honor, she became the longest reigning champion in the history of Ring of Honor. And her current reign as Ring of Honor women's champion sits at, you guys ready? You ready for this? And mind you, this is only her first reign. Her reign currently sits at 728 days and counting. The forever champion. Let that sink in. She is now one of the longest reigning champions of the modern era. I want you to take into account she has surpassed Gunther, who became the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time. She is now only behind a few world champions in the history of the WWE, like Roman Reigns and Bruno Sammartino. She is, I believe, surpassed Camille. No. She hasn't passed Camille. Camille's NWA Women's Championship reign lasted 812 days. Jazz's reign was 948 days. Mischief's was 818 days. So she has a chance to surpass them, even though, it might not happen, but she is one of the longest reigning champions of the modern era. And speaking of Athena, her protege, her minion, Billy Starks at Supercard of Honor became the first ever women's television champion, defeating Queen Aminata. I was there for that. It's a good match. It's a really good match. This was the final match of the tournament. And Billy Starks is in that same category as Tiffany Stratton, as Roxanne Perez. She's a prodigy. She's just so good at this, and there was no better choice than Billy Starks becoming the champion. It just worked for her. It just does. And she was a serviceable champion, but it also helped further her storyline and progression with Athena, and I'm waiting for the next step in that. Then we have NXT's amazing women's division. I just don't know how they do it. Remember the old days of the Black and Gold, where the women's division was just putting on bangers after bangers. Now, yes, the roster, I want to say, talent-wise with the in-ring ability, doesn't come close to what the Black and Gold had at one point, but they have enough names there where you're like, okay, because you have Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade and Kalani Jordan and Julia and Zarya and Gigi Dolan and Jada Parker and Tatum Paxley and the team of Fatal Attraction. I know I'm forgetting some order. You have Stephanie Vaquer, you have Ren Sinclair. Like, the NXT Women's Division is putting on bangers. Not in the sense of they're put on great matches, but they're putting on quality storylines to make you invested. And all these women have been really, really fantastic. And the worst part is, someone has to go, right? Because the roster is bloated. The roster is absolutely bloated. And someone's going to get left out in the dust, and that sucks. That sucks. But they have so much talent inside and out, and I can tell you one thing: the future is bright on the women's side of the WWE. How about the Motor City Machine Guns debuting in WWE, leaving TNA, their long-time home? The Motor City Machine Guns came and defeated former champions, and then became the tag team champions, defeating the team of the Bloodline. It was so random, but to see Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley in WWE is a thing of beauty. You don't understand how important Alex and Chris are to the history of professional wrestling. How many superstars they've trained, how many teams that they've battled, how much history and knowledge they have in those bones of theirs. This was such a good get for the WWE. Yes, I would have loved to see the Guns in AEW full time, but they had a little stint there. But them being WWE, we can see them now against DIY, the Bloodline, and the War Raiders and the New Day. Like, this was going to be good. We're going to get a couple great dream matches here. How about the weirdest thing that happened? The Rock is now on the board of directors of TKO Holdings Group, which is the parent company of the WWE. Let that sink in. Let's expand on that. The Rock, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels are running the WWE. The Rock is on the board of directors. Triple H pretty much runs the WWE, and Shawn Michaels runs NXT. How crazy is that? That's nuts. That's nuts. Knowing where we were, where we started, and now looking where we're at here, it's just like these three guys. And it's been successful. It's had its ups, it's had its downs, but the Rock being on the board of directors is something that will always blow my mind. Bryan Danielson retired this year. Sorry, he retired from full-time in-ring career because he will be back to wrestle. And to see possibly one of the greatest of all time go down on his terms, go out on his terms, but eventually be back was a thing of beauty. You might not find a man that is more well respected than Bryan Danielson with AEW, and he is a man that everyone loves. Never heard a bad thing said about Bryan Danielson, and he was able to go out on his terms. He was able to go out on top and help further a storyline. He yes, defeated Swerve Strickland, but Swerve was on another level at that point, and I didn't even get into Swerve. But Bryan Danielson being able to say, this is my time, I got this, let's do what we do, was a thing of beauty. And we'll get to another retirement a little bit later. But then we have WWE finally doing something smart with their women's division, and that is introducing Women's United States and Intercontinental Championships. Now, the tournaments are just starting. The U.S. titles on SmackDown, the women's IC titles on Raw. The U.S. title tournament's almost done, with the finals going down at Saturday night's main event. I don't know when the IC titles finals are going to go down, but this was good. And I don't want to hear anybody say AEW has too many titles. I don't want to hear it, because now you have on both brands a world title, 2 mid-card titles, and a tag team title. That's 4 belts for both brands, and then you have the women's tag team titles, which floats. So that's 9 championships on the main roster, not including the Speed Championship. And it just made sense for the women to get these, because NXT had their Women's North American Championship. And why would you let your development brand have a maker title not on your main roster? Why would you let them outdo you? Feel good. I hope this brings in more opportunities for the women. Then we have the rise of Liv Morgan. This is probably one of the most shocking stories that went down, in the fact that Liv Morgan has been absolutely fantastic since returning. Yes, she lost the Royal Rumble, but she ended up not only defeating Becky Lynch to win the Women's World Championship, but she usurped Rhea Ripley out of the Judgment Day, took her man, and has been clogging in just an awesome time as champion. Yes, the matches aren't super great, but they're not bad. And Liv knows what to do. She knows her job. She knows the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour has been a thing of beauty. And here's the best part. She's not in the wrong. She makes sense, because one, it was Rhea that put her out. Rhea was the bully. So how was Liv the bad guy when Rhea did all of this? Just because Rhea's popular and hot doesn't mean she's right. The Liv Morgan Revenge Tour finally ended, and it became the Liv Morgan Victory Tour. And she's on the Victory Tour right now, and I, for one, am sitting back watching it. Then, yes, I went to it. Happy. WrestleMania 40 went down the city of brotherly love, and multiple things happened. This was a good show. I'm not going to say a great show, but it was very, very fun. A lot of stuff happened. On night 1, we got Rhea defeating Becky Lynch. to retain the Women's World Championship. We got A-Town Down Under and Awesome Truth walking away with tag team championships. We had Jimmy and Jay go down, which wasn't a super, super great match. We had Sami Zayn, excuse me, defeat Gunther, becoming the Intercontinental Champion and ending Gunther's reign. Gunther was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion at that point. His reign was ended at 666 days. We had the return of the People's Champion, The Rock, teaming up with his cousin Roman Reigns to defeat Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and then just an absolutely fantastic match. Then on night 2, Drew McIntyre defeated Seth Rollins to become world champion. Damian Priest cashed in Money in the Bank due to interference from CM Punk to become world champion. Logan Paul had a WrestleMania match, and it wasn't horrible. And my match of the whole weekend, Bayley and Io stealing the show. Bayley winning the Women's Championship after winning the Royal Rumble. And Cody Rhodes finally finished his story, defeating Roman Reigns to become undisputed WWE Universal Champion. This was the 40th anniversary of WrestleMania. Sorry, the 39th anniversary of WrestleMania. This was WrestleMania here in Philly. Yes, it was a little cold, and they'll be back, because you're not going to salute Philly or New York or Jersey or Boston or Baltimore or DC from hosting a WrestleMania, but this was great. And lastly, I'd be remiss not to talk about AEW's brand new television deal. They did a new deal signing with HBO Max and Warner Brothers Discovery, and this was a thing of beauty. Many people were preying on their downfall, hoping AEW fails, but that was not going to happen. They are going to surpass WCW. They're going to become the second best top promotion in all of the land. They kind of already there. We need AEW to be successful. We need AEW to succeed. This new TV deal allows them to do that. They will be debuting some new shows. They will be on Max. We're going to get the library deal, and it's a good thing. If you find fault in this, there is literally something wrong with you. But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. That was a lot, and guess what? There is more to come with these top stories. This is a fun show just to look at everything that went down in 2024. But thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Coming up, we got more lists, the worst of wrestling. We're going to talk about the New Day and what's in store for them. We got Flashback Friday. We got to do more Flashback Fridays. We got the Cutters coming up. There's so much going down this month, and I am incredibly happy for it. Oh, I cannot wait. But check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Anna J, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, Gigi Dolan, Isla Dawn, and Bailey. Holla at your boy. Peace.